there is a growing flash flood threat for the southwest United States. We are now into the double digits of the Atlantic hurricane season in terms of named storms, and we could see a couple systems develop which could bring more flood threats to the southwest United States, systems from the eastern Pacific. And then as we go later into the month, we could see systems start to develop in places but the Atlantic and eastern Pacific. We could start to see some southern hemisphere activity. So I'll go over all of this in this video. This here is cyclone Wednesday, October 8th, 2025. Starting with Tropical Storm Octave. It currently has 45 mile an hour sustained winds and is forecast to dissipate tomorrow afternoon. Should become a remnant low, 35 miles an hour. There is this system, Priscilla, did pull it. I will show you the track of Octave in a moment, the previous track. Priscilla did pull it toward the west or toward the east. But Priscilla currently has 70 mile an hour sustained winds and has weakened quickly throughout the day today. It is now down to tropical storm status, and it should dissipate before hitting the Baja California Peninsula. Invest 90E currently has a 70% chance of development in the next 2 days and an 80% chance of development in the next 7 days. This is very close to land, and throughout the day yesterday it kept getting closer and closer to land, so maybe when this develops we could see a landfall. I'm not totally sure on that quite yet. It currently has 35 mile an hour sustained winds. I don't remember if I mentioned that quite yet. And it should develop either today or tomorrow. Late tonight, I think it will develop tomorrow. Back to the track on Octave. It has had an interesting track. This is the most interesting Eastern Pacific storm I've tracked in terms of the track it's taken. It took a complete U-turn when Priscilla pulled it back toward Mexico. And it's going to continue moving to the east and then eventually dissipate by tomorrow. If it doesn't dissipate by tomorrow, it'll probably get absorbed into Invest 90E, which will likely be the next system. I'm not totally sure what's going to happen quite yet. I think it is just going to dissipate. Disturbance 1 in the Bay of Campeche is part of the Atlantic Basin. And the Bay of Campeche currently has a 10% chance of development in the next 2 days and a 10% chance of development in the next 7 days. I do not expect this to develop. I think the chances by the 8 p.m. advisory will drop down to 0, and this will not get a name. By the way, the next name on the list is the K-name storm Karen, and I don't think this will be it, but we currently have our 10th storm of the season, Jerry, which currently has 60 mile an hour sustained winds and is forecast to be a hurricane by Friday. It should come very close to Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, and Guadalupe. All of those areas are under a tropical storm watch. It is forecast to be a hurricane by Friday, and then forecast to further intensify to 80 miles an hour. Yesterday the forecast was that it would reach Category 2 status about right here. However, because the system did not strengthen as fast as they thought it would, it was forecast to be a hurricane today. However, because it did not strengthen as fast as the National Hurricane Center thought it would, it is now only forecast to be low in Cat 1. I think it could still be a Cat 2 because there has been a lot of rapid intensification in this area this year, starting with Aaron, then Gabrielle, and Umberto. So I think this may reach Category 2, maybe even Category 3 status. For the southwest flood threat, starting tomorrow, there is a level 2 out of 5 flood threat for Southern California, and then parts of New Mexico. And then the day 3 outlook this is Friday, it is forecast to move up into Utah, Colorado, and a little bit of New Mexico. This is all the remnants of Priscilla. And then the system after that will likely make its way here. Let me show you the forecast models actually. So look at the very left edge of your screen. This is the European forecast model. They show the system hitting the Baja Peninsula, and then you see the rain. But this is more than 3 days out. The flash flood threat only goes 3 days out, compared to the Storm Prediction Center, which goes 5 days out, or 3 days out as well. I guess it technically goes 8 days out, but their main advisories are only 3 days out. And then the National Hurricane Center does go 7 days out, except their forecast cones for actual storms are 5 days out. So the European model shows Jerry going up, getting very close to the Caribbean. I don't think it'll hit. And then maybe intensifying into a Category 2 hurricane, 970 pressure. I estimate that to be about Category 2 status. And then starting to move very fast and then dissipating before hitting Spain or Portugal and moving through very fast. And then if we look further in time, by the 23rd, the European model is not the only model showing this. There may be another little system right here, which there hasn't been no activity in the Caribbean so far this year. So it's just been baking in the sun all year. So it only takes one storm to get in there. Once the storm gets in there, it is able to rapidly, if not explosively, intensify. And even if this doesn't happen, then 2026 could be pretty crazy if storms go in the Caribbean. By the way, this system, it won't actually be a tropical storm. That is just a nor'easter that will hit sometime next week, early next week. This will, even though it's not a tropical storm, it could bring the same impacts as a tropical storm. Again, if you watch my last video, the Outer Banks have had a lot of houses collapsing. This could make a few more houses collapse. And then the GFS, which is the American model going way out in time, they show two systems developing in the Caribbean, one hitting Honduras, and then another, it doesn't show it hitting anywhere yet, but this is by the 24th. And finally, for the potential of Southern Hemisphere systems, if we go to the tropical cyclone forecast, there is at least 40% chance of a tropical cyclone somewhere in the Australian or Southwest Indian Ocean area. So I will be monitoring these very closely. We've already had two storms this season, Olivo and Blossom. So I'll be monitoring all of this very closely. Be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching and see ya.